Hello, all right. This is the last homework help video. You have made it. You're at the goal line. You just got to go across. Let's do this. All right. Chapter 14. Given the following data, answer 4 questions about the money supply and money multiplier. So right here we got some important key things. Let's go through each one of them. Total reserves, okay? So that's how much money the banks have held back that they have available if people want it. Okay, that's just sitting there waiting for them to take the money. They have that ready if people demand it. Transaction deposits, that's how much people could claim. Okay, if they wanted their money, they could claim the 600 billion. Cash held by the public. Okay, so 300 billion, that's how much money is just out there. That's interesting. We got bonds. And we have stocks. So those are investments, right? Bonds and stocks, property owning. We have our gross domestic product. That's how much we're producing per year in value. Interest rate is at 6%. Okay, 6% interest rate. And then we have a required reserve ratio of 0.05. Okay. That's all of our things. Let's take a look and see what questions it has for us. How large is the money supply? If you remember, the money supply deals with these two items: transactions, deposits, and cash held by the public. So altogether, we have 600 plus 300, just 900 billion. That's all it is. There we go. How much excess reserves are there? Ooh, interesting. We got to do some extra calculations here. So we have 900 billion that we have. If we have 900 billion, how much are they required to keep? Oh, sorry, not 900 billion. 600 billion. Sorry, I added in the cash in there. Let's get rid of all that. Okay. So here, 600 billion. That's how much the banks can be called upon to have, or it could be claimed that's needed. However, do they keep that amount? Nowhere near that amount. So all we do is times this by what? Required reserve ratio, which is 0.05. Go to a handy calculator. Okay. 0.05. Oh. Nope, 0.05 times 600 equals 30. 30 billion is what they have to keep. They have to keep 30 billion. So this equals 30 billion in required reserves. Okay, that's what they have to keep back. Remember, this is the actual ratio. This is just the total amount based on deposits at this time, transaction deposits. So they have to keep 30 billion back, and they have 36 billion to work with. How much do they have to work with? They have to work with 6 billion, right? You just take 30 and you minus that 30 away from the 36 billion down here, okay? So 6 billion is excess reserves. This is stuff they can do stuff with. That's their excess, excess, okay? How much excess reserves are there? Let's go ahead and put that in. There's 6 billion excess reserves right now. What is the money multiplier? Okay, the money multiplier, all you do is you take the reserve ratio, which is 0.05, and you take 1 and divide it by it. So it's going to be this 1 over RR. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this in the calculator. Pretty sure I know what this one is. So we take 1, divide by 0.05, 20. There we go. So this equals 20. That's how much it'll kick around in the system. So anything you put in it, it'll be able to kick around by that amount, okay? So we have 20 here. What is the available lending capacity for the banking system? So right now they have 6 billion in excess, If they use that 6 billion, it could kick around how many times? 20 times. So right now they have 6 billion in excess. It can kick around 20 times. You just do 6 times 20. That's all you do. Let's pop that up. 6 times 20, 120 billion. So 6 billion in excess. If it was lend out and goes through the cycle enough times, that could be an additional 120 billion added into the system. Let's see if we did it right, shall we? Did we do it right? All green. There we go. Let's move on. Question 2. Suppose the Federal Reserve decided to purchase 30 billion worth of government securities in the open market, okay? By how much will M1 and change initially if the entire 30 billion is deposited into transaction accounts? Well, initially, then it's going to increase by 30 billion because that's what they're doing. They're buying the government securities they have out there, they're buying them back. And when you buy them back, by default, they're giving money to the institutions that had them or the people that had them, and that's going to put money back out into the banking system. Okay? How will the lending capacity to the banking system be affected if the reserve requirement is 10%? Well, total lending capacity will increase. And the thing that's interesting here, okay, we have 30 billion. That's how much gets put into the system. However, how much of this 30 billion do they have to keep back? Times by 0.10 equals 3 billion they have to keep back, okay? Because you have a required reserve ratio amount. So you end up with 27 billion that the banks can work with. 27 billion. And all we gotta do is get our money multiplier. So what's our money multiplier? It's gonna be 1 divided by the reserve ratio, which is 0.10. So that's gonna equal, should be really simple. We go 1 divided by 0.10 equals, yeah, 10. All right, so this equals over here. This equals 10. That's our multiplier. And that's the money we're going to probably end up multiplying it by. So 27 billion times 10 is, shouldn't need a calculator for this one, 270 billion. But if you need to, don't worry about it. Sometimes we just get anxious and want to check and make sure everything's right. How will banks induce investors to utilize this expanded lending capacity? As the money supply increases, interest rates will. If there's more money in the money supply, people are competing for loans because there's so much more money out there. So the interest rates will decrease because we're going to be competitive. I'm going to offer you low, cheap loans because I need to be competitive because there's a lot more money out there. Okay? As the money supply increases, as the money supply tightens, though, money becomes more valuable, meaning I can then increase the rates for those loans because it's harder to get a loan. Okay? And investors will want to borrow. If money's cheap, people want to borrow more. That's just all there is to it. If people are competing to give out loans, then investors want to borrow more of it because they're getting a great deal on the money. All right? Let's check it. Checking the work. I see green there, green there. That looks good. All green. Oh, we're getting close. Question 3. Ooh, okay. Fed cuts interest rates 0.5 point to 1%. Yeah, we've been doing this crazy stuff. Okay, and this is sourced in 2008. If you read this whole thing, it just talks about the Fed cutting interest rates. Basically, if I cut interest rates, I'm going to make it so people want to borrow more and spend more, which, and as a result, increases AD. This says right here, if every 1 point change in the federal funds rate alters the aggregate demand by 200 billion, how far did the AD shift in response to interest rate cut by half a percentage point? Well, if a full percentage point is 200 billion, then a half percentage point is half of 200 billion, so it's just 100 billion. And because I'm cutting the interest rate, whenever you cut the prime interest rate down, it's going to make it cheaper for everyone to get loans, and therefore there's going to be more demand because there's more money to bid with. So this, shift AD to the right, because the right is where AD increases. So if you just imagine your little graph here, okay, and you got your supply like so, and you have your demand like this, okay, demand is going to shift out. And they say AD on it, not just D, AD, because it's aggregate demand, meaning all the demand. It's a macro system. And this should technically be up here, an AS. If you ever see an A, just remember that means aggregate, so they're good looking at a macro look on the economy. So, all right, that's all there. And let's check it, shall we? There we go, we're good. 2 more. Beijing, China's central bank, reduced the amount of reserves commercial banks are required to hold. Okay, freezing up money for lending, the latest easing measure to shore up the world's second largest economy. The people of the Chinese bank lowers reserve. Okay, this let's see the key parts here. Their required reserve ratio, so triple R. Well, that's a huge pointer. Triple R. 18.5%, and this is going to free up $1.2 trillion, or say yuan, which for us would be 194 billion. Okay. By how much did excess reserves in China increase? Well, that's in trillion yuan, so we just put 1.2 trillion. That's what it says right there, 1.2. By how much did the lending capacity of Chinese banks increase as a blank trillion Chinese yuan? Well, we have 1.2 trillion. 0.2 trillion. All we need now is a money multiplier, okay? And we're seeing that 18.5 is the reserve ratio, so we go 1 divided by 0.185. So let's do that, shall we? Let's see, 1 divided by 0.185 equals, okay, so we're going to multiplier of 5.4. So our multiplier is 5.4. So if this is our multiplier, this is our money multiplier, MM, okay? And remember this 1.85, we got this all the way over from here, okay? That's where we got that. And we just changed that percentage into an actual full decimal by moving the decimal point 2 places. Yeah, we just do basic times, so 1.2 times 5.4. 1.2 times 5.4 equals 6.48. 6.48. Okay, looks like I just rounded to 6.5. Let's see if we're right. Hopefully the rounding went well. And it did. All right, everybody. One last homework question. This is it. The last homework question, and you will have made it through the homework. Ooh, we got some interesting stuff here. Okay. First, grab the AD curve and drag and drop it in a new position to represent the shift in aggregate demand. Then use the tools provided, H, V, and U, to identify the new equilibrium point and price level when aggregate supply here is horizontal, vertical, and upward sloping. Okay, so this right here, suppose the economy is initially in an equilibrium and output level of 100. Okay, so let's go over here. We're seeing output level of 100. This is our equilibrium right here at 100. This is where we're starting. Okay, right there. And a price level of 100. So this right here, our price level is 100. It's not showing us official prices, but they're saying the price level would be 100 there. The Fed then measures the shift aggregate demand rightward by 20. Okay, so they're going to shift out 20 as far as aggregate demand. Okay. So it says right here, first grab the AD curve and drag and drop in a new position to represent the shift in aggregate demand. So we're going to come over here, saying it's going out by 20. 2. No, I wanted that. It doesn't want to do that. It did that thing. So remember, whenever you pull it, you got to pull it more just directly to the right. You kind of slip it up a little bit up. It doesn't want to take it. Okay. So this should be right. We pulled at 20, which means if we're sticking on this same one here, we should be at 20 there. Okay. And that's going to want these new things here. So the vertical is now where? Where's the vertical? Now vertical's now right there. And the U, upward sloping, its new equilibrium is here. And the horizontal's new equilibrium is here. Now, why is there all these different AS curves? It's theory is what they're going off of, okay? Basically, they're talking about based on what we think our economy is able to do and what constraints there are. One theory is an AS curve, okay? At some point, we can't produce more, period. It just doesn't matter. We don't have the resources. We can't produce more. Therefore, any increase in demand will do only one thing: increase prices. It won't increase production because we're at a limit. We just can't do any more. The other is that, no, we can pretty much always produce more, which is upward sloping. However, it's at a cost of price, okay? So this one, this AS vertical, you're only going to see an increase in price. That's it. That's the only thing that can happen when you shift out AS. This one over here, AS upward sloping, you're going to see a shift in price and in quantity whenever we shift AD. Okay, and that's just assuming that, hey, we can always produce more, but there's going to be a bidding war, prices will go up, and it's going to be harder to produce. And you do approach a point where over here where it could just kind of infinitely go up, and then you're really stuck. So, the third option is the horizontal over here. Okay, horizontal, the price doesn't change at all, and it just keeps going to the right as far as quantity. Okay, this just means that we're just not tapping into our AS curve. We're so far down on our AS curve that it looks flat, even though out here, if we were to continue this out, it could at some point go up. But as far as the way we're approaching it, it feels like this to us. Okay, that's another view of economics. So let's go ahead and see what it wants. Which AS curve results in the largest increase in output? Okay, so right here, if it costs more to produce, well, then we're not going to be able to produce as much when we shift AD, because we have to take an account for that, because we have increased prices. If there's no increased prices and we're just going straight off of demand, then this AS curve is going to produce the most. And this vertical AS curve, when we shifted demand, it didn't produce anything extra. It just shot up prices. That's all it did, because we were already at full based on that theoretical point. So which AS curve results in the largest increase in output? It's going to be our horizontal one. Which AS curve results in the largest increase in price level? Okay, for over here, if I shift AD over and I don't increase what I'm producing at all I did was jack up the bidding war on prices. So this AS vertical is going to do the highest price jump possible if I increase AD, and there's no way to actually increase output in our economy, because we've just reached the limit of production and we can't do anything else. So we come over here, it's going to be vertical. Which AS curve results in an increase in both output and price level? Well, if you look at the arrows, vertical is just price, horizontal is just output. However, the upward sloping, the traditional one that we often see, has an increase there and an increase there. So there we go, upward up sloping. And that should be it. Let's check it. Clear off everything. Check my work. %, and green. We did it. You have officially done the homework if you've gotten to this point. We've done it. Made it through all the chapters. You guys are amazing. Good luck on the quizzes, tests, and homework and everything. We've officially made it through. If there's anything else you need, let me know. Let me know if the video helped you. Always put a like, subscribe, all that stuff on it because it makes it easier for people to find these videos. Take care, everybody.